Hi guys, I'm Eileen. Today I want to talk about the luxury handbags which have been released fairly recently. I love luxury handbags and I enjoy looking at the new launches and see how the fashion community responds and if a trend is coming or going. For example, it's really interesting to see how the Celine luggage tote became the most popular handbags, and now 10 years later, we hardly see them on social media or anywhere. So I thought I'll make a video to share my thoughts about some of the new pieces and see if they are actually worth investing in. First of all, let's talk about the Hermes Mini Lindy. Now, Hermes don't usually come out with a lot of new designs, so when they do, it's often very exciting. I'm sure some of you have seen the very adorable Hermes Mini Lindy bags around. The original Hermes Lindy bags were launched in 2007, but the Mini Lindy only came out in 2019. They've quickly become very popular and I can understand why. I used to have an Hermes Lindy 26 in a color corsage. I sold the bag because it was a bit tricky for me to pair the color to my outfits. Nevertheless, I still find the design of the Hermes Lindy very unique and refreshing. I often say the Hermes Lindy bag can be the perfect choice if you're looking for your very first Hermes bag. So you can understand why the Hermes Mini Lindy immediately got my attention. First of all, I just think the bag is so cute. More importantly, for such a small bag, it can actually fit quite a lot because of the silhouette. However, if I ever do get the bag, I think I will mostly wear it as a crossbody bag because the shoulder strap looks a bit too long for a shoulder bag. Overall, I think this bag is both cute and functional, and I think it's definitely worth looking into. The second bag is also from Hermes, which is the Hermes Kelly Danse. These bags were launched in 2008, discontinued in 2013, then reintroduced in 2018. I've heard that these bags can be quite hard to get because they belong to the Kelly family. By the way, I'm still doing my research about these bags, so feel free to correct me or add any suggestions. Apparently, the Kelly Danse was designed to be used as a waist bag, but because the shoulder strap is removable, a lot of people have since come up with very creative ways to wear the bag, including carrying it as a backpack, a clutch bag, a crossbody bag, and a shoulder bag. Now, I know these bags are very sought after, but truthfully, I'm not too sure about the design. First of all, I think it looks a bit too big as a waist bag. Secondly, I think the shoulder strap is kind of attached to the wrong place for a shoulder bag because the rings are on the back of the bag rather than on the top or on the sides. So I can imagine the bag tilting slightly when you carry it as a shoulder bag. Last but not least, I also feel like the Kelly Danse is missing a top handle. Now I know I've just said this bag is supposed to be a waist bag, but it just feels like it's missing something. That said, it might just be I'm used to the Kelly bags looking a certain way. So for me, as versatile and classic as the Kelly Danse is, I personally don't see myself getting one. In fact, I think I will only use this bag as a clutch bag, and I certainly will think twice about spending this much on a clutch bag. The next luxury handbags I want to talk about are the Lady Dior bags. The Lady Dior bags have been around since the 90s and they remain the very classic and timeless pieces in my opinion. I have a Lady Dior bag in lambskin and in the medium size. Till this day, I think it's one of the most beautiful handbags around. In the last few years, Dior has come up with different sizes, materials, and shoulder straps for their Lady Dior. I like most of them, but the ones I'm not too sure about are the ones made with canvas material. For me, I just think the Lady Dior bags are supposed to be very elegant and classy, and they really look their best with a structured silhouette. So my honest opinion is, these bags have lost a lot of their glory in the canvas material. Now, I understand sometimes designer brands will want to bring out more playful designs to cater to different needs in the market. But I just really prefer if they come out with brand new designs rather than playing with their very classic and timeless pieces. The next luxury handbags I want to talk about are the very popular Dior book totes. These bags were launched in 2018. At first, they were only available in the size large. I've always thought this size is a bit too big for daily use, so I've never paid a lot of attention to them. But then recently, Dior came out with the size small and the size mini as well. Now the price for the size mini is a bit crazy for such a little bag made with canvas, so I can't say I'll recommend it. I think at £1,800, there are many other amazing alternatives that you can consider. However, one Dior book tote does stand out to me, and that's the size small in black calf leather. First of all, I think this size is so much more usable. In fact, I think it will make a lovely work bag. Secondly, this bag looks so modern and chic, but at the same time, I can see it being very timeless as well because the design is so simple. Personally, I love my Hermes Birkin 25, and I think this book tote can be the perfect alternative to the Birkin 35. I don't usually carry a lot, so I don't tend to look for handbags in big sizes. But if you are looking for one, I think this bag is worth considering. Next, let's move on to Chanel. Just a little disclaimer, I might be a bit biased because I don't shop at Chanel very often now, especially after their many price increases. Anyway, Chanel recently launched their fall-winter collection, and two bags really caught my attention. The first one is the Chanel mini flap with a leather flap attached to the shoulder chain. To be honest, I wasn't exactly sure what to think of it at first. For me, the Chanel classic flaps and mini flaps are supposed to be very versatile. They are the kind of handbags that will go well with any outfit. So for me, adding a leather flap might add some wow factor to the bag, but it also takes away a lot of versatility from this handbag. I don't think this leather flap is detachable, but maybe Chanel can consider doing that instead. I know a lot of people love the Chanel mini flaps, so I would love to know what you think of this little tweak Chanel has done to these pieces. Another new Chanel handbag from the fall-winter collection that really got my attention is a small flat bag with a buckle made with resin and faux pearls. I think a lot of people will agree that the buckle is the statement element for this handbag. Again, I'm not very keen about the design for a few reasons. First of all, I think that's just a bit too much accessory for such a little bag. Secondly, I'm also not a big fan of Chanel's costume jewelry, which happens to be the selling point of this handbag. Last but not least, I think this bag is heavily overpriced considering it's such a small bag. In fact, I've checked the measurements and it looks like this bag is even smaller than the Chanel mini flap. The width is just a little bit wider than an iPhone 8 Plus, so I don't think it will actually fit. So for £3,600, I'll prefer to spend my money on something else that's a bit more functional. Now let's talk about Louis Vuitton. I've been looking at the Louis Vuitton Vanity PM since it came out. This bag is like the handbag version of the Louis Vuitton Nice BB toiletry bag. I've never considered getting the Nice BB because of the Pochette leather. I just really prefer something a bit more worry-free. So when I saw the Louis Vuitton Vanity PM, I was quite excited because the top handle is made of calf leather instead. This bag looks so adorable. The size is quite a bit smaller than the Nice BB, but it can actually fit quite a bit considering it's such a small bag. This bag also comes with a beautiful shoulder chain, but I think it looks the best as a top handle bag. In fact, I'm a bit worried that the bag might feel a bit boxy when you use it as a shoulder bag or a crossbody bag. I've also heard some people say that when you carry the bag as a shoulder bag, the chain can feel like it's in the way when you want to unzip the handbag. And for this bag, you do have to unzip both sides, so it might just be a bit tricky to get in and out the bag. Personally, this does put me off a bit, so as beautiful as it looks, I don't see myself owning one anytime soon. Another new Louis Vuitton handbag I want to talk about is the Petite Malle Souple. This bag really reminds me of the Louis Vuitton multi-pochette accessoire because of the canvas strap. In fact, I think because the multi-pochette accessoire got so popular, Louis Vuitton then decided to include more of this element into their designs. Anyway, the Louis Vuitton Petite Malle Souple features a soft version of their very iconic trunk, although it does remind me of the Hermes maxi box as well. Overall, I don't have major problem with the design. In fact, I think it might make a very functional bag as well. However, I do have a problem with the pricing. Now, I might be a bit out of touch with Louis Vuitton's pricing because I've not bought a Louis Vuitton handbag for a while now. But at £2,000, I really can't justify the price, especially because the bag is made of canvas and canvas. So personally, I don't see myself rushing to a Louis Vuitton store to try this bag out. There you have it. Those are my thoughts about some of the new luxury handbags on the market. I have a small collection of luxury handbags which I'm very happy with. So I do think long and hard before adding any new pieces to my wardrobe. As a result, my opinion might just be a bit harsh. For me though, the best investment luxury pieces are those I get to use and wear a lot. And of course, only you know what works best for you and if something is worth your money. On that note, please let me know what you think of the pieces I mentioned in this video. I would love to know. So that's it from me. Thank you so much for watching and don't forget to share, like and subscribe. I will see you in my next one. Have a nice day.